Yamaha presents the Whitetail Diaries, chronicling hunting adventures of the most plentiful and intelligent big game animal in North America. Join top whitetail hunters nationwide and embark on the amazing adventure that is hunting the whitetail deer. Well, it's time for the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries annual trip to Kentucky to go bow hunting for velvet whitetail. Now, the crew once again sets up camp with Salt River Outfitters a few days before the weekend opener. As everyone gets settled in, we went around and asked them when they first got started in bow hunting and what they love about it, being a bow hunter.
You know, I consider myself a hunter first and foremost. I like to hunt with everything, and I always have. But being called a bow hunter is something that has always meant a lot to me because it means you put in time, you put in practice for the most part to prepare. You scout a little different, you work at it a little harder. You need to practice to become proficient. There's a lot more woodsmanship that goes into being a bow hunter than some of the other forms of hunter. And that's not to belittle any of the other forms out there because, you know, as it's well documented, I like to hunt with everything. I got my start in bow hunting, really like a lot of people did, by just being immersed in the hunting culture. Being around people that were involved in hunting, watching them do it, seeing it on TV, reading about it in magazines, dreaming about it by looking at catalogs. And then once I picked up a bow for the first time, I remember first it was hard for me to draw back, but second, it was just the feeling of that arrow, you know, when I released it and it hitting its mark. So that all just kind of stuck with me, and since then it's become, you know, one of my major passions in hunting.
I would say my favorite thing about bow hunting is, for one, I mean, it is the biggest challenge for me at this point in my hunting stage, but you have to get so much closer to the deer, so there's so much more going on to make sure that you're not going to get spooked. It's just so much more difficult to get a successful shot off. Plus, you know, nerves can work up so much more. So I mean, it's just that chase and the thrill, and of course, ultimately, in the end, hopefully, fingers crossed, I get that deer down and I can celebrate that in the end.
If you're a hunter and you love to just observe things, it gets you out there, you learn more about deer, you learn more about the habitat they're going at earlier in the season versus later in the season. And it also allows me to observe what the deer do earlier. Whether you're coming in from late summer, you know, Kentucky, or we're in Texas and it's October, you know, the cool fronts are just starting. The deer behavior changes significantly from October to November to December. You know, you got pre-rut, rut, post-rut. You've got all these different aspects that go into it, and there's just so many things that it opens up for you to learn.
So I've only been bow hunting for maybe, I guess, 5 or 6 years. Wade gave me one of his old bows when I wanted to try to learn what it took to shoot a bow, and that's kind of how I got started. When I first started shooting a bow, we actually started videotaping me a little bit, basically learning how to shoot and also learning how to hunt. They called it the Quest. And we call it the Quest because I think I did everything wrong that you could possibly do wrong. There's a shot of me where I go to draw and my arrow comes unknocked and falls out. I mean, it's just, if it can go wrong, I'm gonna do it. That's kind of how I learn. I do it wrong and I learn. I learn by the mistakes. I made a lot of them. But on the flip side, I've had some success, and I attribute the success to those mistakes.
Bow hunting in the dictionary, I think, has the word roller coaster somewhere next to it. It's a glorious thing when you can make the right shot and know that you made the shot that is going to help the animal go down. And then there's the times when you're not absolutely certain, and my world turns upside down, inside out. I worry, I fret, even when I make a good shot. And just, I mentioned roller coasters around bow hunting. The ups, when they're up so high, when the downs, for me, I get really down on myself because I want to do everything right. You want it to, but it doesn't. And whether you're at fault or other things come into play that maybe lessen the burden a little bit of why you may not have been totally at fault, the weight of the world. If I don't feel like I did a good job, the weight of the world comes on me during bow hunting. But the highs are so high because of everything you need to do. All the things that need to come in and be perfect. When it works, it's adrenaline inducing. And every minute of every day leading up to season, during season, and in anticipation of next season, those highs keep you going. What do I love about bow hunting is the environment, where it takes you, what it gets you immersed in, what, opportunity in front of you, throwing an arrow at an animal. Sure, that's the culmination, that's the cherry on top. But at the end of the day, it's about everything else that it encapsulates, the activity, the people you're around and things like that really are what I like most about it.
When we return, we'll follow Steve Nessl and his journey to hunt down a whitetail in full velvet.
You always hope for the buck of a lifetime. When it comes, will you be ready? Xero.
It's here. The frost is on the field. It's time to put your camo on and head out to your favorite spot. He's moving more in the daylight, and your heart races as you hold perfectly still. Make sure your fall hunting season is the best one yet with the hunting gear you trust, only at Bass Pro Shops and Cabela's. Shop in-store or online.
Welcome back to the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries with Wade Middleton. It's time for the Velvet season opener here at Salt River Outfitters in Kentucky. And in this episode, we're joining up with Steve Nessl of Yamaha. Steve's been coming to Kentucky for a few years now and has had success, but he still hasn't been able to knock down a whitetail in full velvet.
This is my 4th year hunting the season opener in Kentucky. It's become a spot on the calendar for me. My first year out, that's when I first became aware of and in love with how good Kentucky is. There was an 8 that year that just completely turned me inside out. I saw him, I think it was my first sit, and he never came in. And I saw him my last sit, and he never gave me a shot. That deer died later that year in Hardhorn, but I knew right then and there, I couldn't believe that they got deer this big in velvet. And so the second year I did come back, we were chasing some good bucks again, but they just weren't cooperating really. But we had one spot where there were a lot of deer, and I was lucky enough to have a good one come in, and he was mostly hardhorn. He had some velvet scraps, almost all the way out of velvet. Made a good shot on him, and I was on the board in Kentucky year 2. But I didn't have a velvet buck yet. Came back last year, 3rd year in, similar property, same house, same farms, a lot of the same setups. Hunting was hard again. It was hot, maybe not as brutally hot as the 2 years prior, but it's still hot, and especially when the sun's beating down on you. A lot of deer were out of velvet already just due to conditions, and I messed up a hunt back. I really screwed up. I think every hunt I was on, I did something wrong. Not a good hunter that year. So here we are, 4th year, came in search of a full velvet buck. You know, I try to not set expectations super high. I just want to come and enjoy camp life, enjoy hunting, period. But when you come to Kentucky and you know they're big and you know that they're in velvet, or can be, in this case, most deer were still in velvet when we showed up, you get excited and you get hopeful. This is gorgeous country, beautiful, beautiful country, good people. We're camping, set up this little makeshift camp, and it's been great. We've got a little archery range, and showing up on Friday, the day before opening day of deer season in Kentucky. So you wake up Saturday morning and the clock is still dragging. For whatever reason, whenever you can sleep in, you're up early because you want to go to the stand, right? You're up at 6, 6:30, 7, get out of bed, whatever, get up. You start shooting your bow, you start getting your gear ready, you make sure your pack's fine, you check the RMAX, which one are you gonna take? Do you want this color, you want that, whatever. This is the 2nd year in Kentucky with the RMAX. This is the 1st anniversary of the RMAX's first public appearance, I believe. Last year I brought 2 RMAXs up in a double enclosed trailer because I think I drove up on a day they were being unveiled, and we couldn't have them on an open trailer where everybody could see them because they were all new. and then they were launched. And now they're a year in market, and the Wolverine RMAX 1000 is, man, it's caught fire. It's setting new standards for performance and really the ability of people to get out and do things they've never done with a side-by-side vehicle before. Things they can't do and never were able to do with their truck. We set that stage with the Rhino. The Viking lets you do that. This Wolverine line has some Viking in that it can work, but it just wants to crawl mountains, literally crawl up the side of mountains. Viking can do that too, it just may be a little bit more of a bumpy ride. That's because you got a bigger cargo bed and back, and more people, right? So we have a full line, and it's really about picking the vehicle that's right for you. We have the RMAXs in camp. They are the newest in the line. And the point I'm making is our entire line of side-by-sides and ATVs, save maybe the sport stuff that doesn't have any cargo capacity, doesn't have four-wheel drive, things like that, that's available to you as a bow hunter. As long as you have enough room to put your bow, your pack, and if you're taking a camera guy, another guy and their camera along with you, and then you still have room for gear, or whatever it is you're trying to go after, A to Z. They do anything you want them to.
Learn more about the Yamaha RMAX 1000 and other Yamaha side-by-side vehicles at YamahaOutdoors.com. Hey, when we return, Steve heads out on his first hunt of the Velvet Opener.
Sometimes the world can seem a cold place, so we gotta bring the warmth to it. Sometimes the world can seem a dark place, so we gotta become the light in it. Sometimes the world can seem a broken place, so we gotta strive to fix it. We prepare for the worst, but we must always, always expect the best.
The fastest, most comfortable compact crossbows ever. 26.5 inches long, 440 feet per second. The Havoc RS440 and Havoc RS440 Xero from 10 Point. Defining crossbow precision for over 25 years.
Attract that buck and keep him there. Deploy Record Racks deer blocks featuring their exclusive berry recipe for ultimate attraction and consumption. The smell draws them in, but the taste keeps them coming back for more. Learn more at recordrack.com.
Welcome back to the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries with Wade Middleton. We'll join Steve as he heads out on the Yamaha Wolverine RMAX to the stand that he's chosen where deer have been spotted just days before. But we all know it only matters if they show up tonight.
Probably. It could be anywhere from a quarter to a half a mile from our spot, but we need to be because we're going to walk the edge of the field where they actually might be bedded down, the deer might. We got to get to the end of the field and around a corner, kind of in a hole at the bottom of this field. It's going to be a good spot. Fingers crossed it's a good spot tonight. Tuck the RMAX in. I think I got everything, so we'll get down there. We'll set up. It's going to be probably a couple hours, but no matter. Glad to be out here. Got one spot, really, and they're coming through here. So I don't know, realistically, I don't know where they're gonna come from. They may bed it up there, hopefully not too much behind us where they catch our scent, but either side or out of this tree line will be good. I got shots from 15 to 40, so now we wait. It's quiet for a little while now, and we're just sitting there and it starts to rain. And it's not a big, it's a drizzle, it's a heavy drizzle. But we're dry even though it's raining, and it's covered, it's almost like cover. As soon as it stopped raining, it got eerily quiet, really still, no wind. And I started to worry a little bit about if a deer comes in, how am I gonna get drawn? When all of a sudden, here are 2 bucks. And they show up almost right about the same time. And they're in the setup and they don't even know we're there. That was the beauty of it. Like, they were calm, never looked our way. Then here comes a little dink from our right. He comes in over from the tree line on that side, just a little Forky and Velvet, and he joins that crew and they're just hanging out. And we're watching them. They were there for quite a while. And so we just sat there kind of watching the clock, watching deer, not hating life at all. When all of a sudden I saw a deer right at the top of the tree line, big bodied deer, can't see on top of his head yet. Still, lost my breath, heart starts to beat. Don't move.
God, country, and the great outdoors. That's how my dad raised me. So it was only natural that I joined the United States Army. That's when I first used Trijicon. I used them again as a civilian police officer for 12 years. Now I'm blessed to hunt all over the world, and I only want the best optics on the planet, Trijicon. Dan Catlin, former U.S. Army, military police.
Trijicon, brilliant aiming solutions.
Welcome back to the Yamaha Whitetail Diaries with Wade Middleton. Steve has come face to face with a velvet brute that just emerged from the tree line here on opening day of the velvet season in Kentucky.
He was really slow coming down. He basically was very cautious, it seemed, but not cautious in our direction. Wasn't looking at us. He was looking at the other deer, and even at the small one, for whatever reason, he seemed cautious around this little dink. Ironically enough, the smallest deer in that setup was the only one that didn't seem to care he was there, because the other 2 bucks that we've been watching, like, big boy's here, and they started to leave. Well, the big boy, he comes in and he settles facing me for a second, and then he starts to kind of just move around and feed and do what deer do. And eventually got my release on my D-loop and tried to figure out a time when I had his head down, him away, him comfortable, him broadside, right? Him in a good position without the other 2 deer in a spot where they could look at me. And just when I thought I had that right moment, I went to get drawn, and that deer's head pops up and he looks directly at me. Arrow flew, it hit that deer and it pummeled him. He was down, but he's moving like he wants to get up and leave. So I grabbed a second arrow to put it in him, because if he's not going to run and die, whether I've got heart or lung, I'm gonna help him do it right there as fast as I possibly can. He's done. There he goes. There he goes. There he goes. I don't even know where to begin. It's opening day in Kentucky. We got light. We've been in the stand for 3.5, 4 hours, and I killed one of the biggest deer of my life. He's immense. He's a stud. He is a fighter, because I'm not exactly sure what happened. He may have ducked my string and I may have got a little higher, but I had to put more than 1 arrow in him. But he's right there. He's right there. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, Mr. Jeff. Wow, dude.
Did that mullet once or what?
You know, we had a little bit of rain. It wasn't going to be too heavy. We liked that. It kind of, as weird as it sounds, it kind of quieted it down. It gave us some cover, right? Deer jumped in. We saw a big one come in, and we're like, that's not big enough. And it wasn't, because this guy showed up, and then another 8, and these are the guys that we were waiting on, these 2 deer. And this guy is so cool, and he was first, and he was close, and I kept telling myself, calm down, patient, patient, let him stay calm, let him be calm. When I drew, though, he was alert, and I still went through the process. I still got the 0 on him. I still got my pin, or my red dot, and I'll have to take a look at where the first one hit, but it was going to take a minute for him to go, so I had to put another arrow in him. But he's right there, and he is done. And I'm tagged out in Kentucky, and oh my goodness, dude. I can't even believe it. I cannot even believe it. We did a pretty good job tonight. I mean, we had the deck stacked in our favor. We knew there were big deer back here. We're in a really, really cool spot. We're in a working ranch. We walked probably all of a half a mile to get back here. And I was here 2 weeks ago scouting with George from Salt River. Thank you, George. Thank you, bud. We're gonna give it a minute so I can calm down, because my knees are gonna start shaking and I don't wanna climb down to the tree when I'm freaking out like this. But my goodness, we're doing, oh, yes, yes. Oops. He's not the size of a small horse, he's the size of a medium-sized horse. Holy. Oh, oh man. Oh. Oh. Look at this. He's starting to lose the felt there. The felt right here. Got some of them on my hands. Whoa, we got to get him preserved. What a stud. Look at all this character on him. Thank you, buddy. To get a deer like that, one that I've already made plans to honor in my home, I've already made meat processing instructions for, it's just an amazing feeling. It's why we come up here and do this. That and all the camp life and spending time with friends. It's just, I could list it out, and I've done it several times. It's exactly what happened on opening day in Kentucky. It's exactly why I came here, what I hope for, and why I keep coming back.
From sunup to sundown, day in and day out, we work hard. We play hard. And to keep us going during those long hours, we demand performance. Angle Coolers, the original high-performance cooler.
Many said that we were just obsessed when we started, that there had to be an easier way to smoke food. As time passed, the Bradley family created a lineup of Bradley electric smokers that has made it easier for the novice or even expert chef to get perfect results every time they use it. Grab yourself a Bradley smoker and take your cooking to an all-new level.
For 30 years, Conquest Deer Farm has been producing superior genetics. This created the most demanded whitetail scent in the hunting industry. Over the past few years, we have been working on a synthetic line just like our proven whitetail line, and we succeeded. Just ask Cody Robbins.
Conquest Scents has made the very best scents to lure in bucks with success. Their synthetic line combines the best scent with an incredible focus on the overall health of our wildlife.
Introducing the Hawk series of box blinds, the ultimate box blinds for serious hunters. Insulated steel panels provide unmatched thermal, scent, and noise control. One-hand operable silent windows are designed for archers as well as gun hunters, while a roto-molded roof and window frames keep rain and snow out of the blind. Hawk blinds have the features serious hunters demand and are backed by a limited lifetime warranty, so your investment will last in the field for years to come. All new box blinds by Hawk.
Want to know why the top shooting pros choose Hi-Vis? Hi-Vis has an enormous lineup of sights for every shooting platform possible that are clean looking and easy to mount. Improve your shooting with faster target acquisition and eliminate cross-eyed dominance. Hi-Vis sights are the brightest out there, helping you find your target with ease no matter the shooting conditions. Choose the best. Choose Hi-Vis and see what you've been missing.